Hi everybody, it's Hubby here with Just About Anything Garage. I want to welcome you to the video. This is going to be our intro video for getting back on Lavern and getting her rolling. It is January 1st, 2026, so a Happy New Year's to you when it comes out. It'll be belated, but wanted to make sure I said it. We're going to go ahead and in this video we're going to get some more work done on the frame here. We're going to wrap up the towing area that we did. We're also going to want to put in a fifth wheel thing, so we may be making that an automatic hide a fifth wheeler type thing, and we'll talk about doing that. We want to basically get the frame all the way down to the back of the cab all cleaned up so that we can put in a ramp up extension here, and we can get the flatbed that we have for it, which is sitting right out there on the back of Big Bertha, in here and prepped and ready to go on this thing so that we can move on to the front cab and the motor. What we'll probably do is, after we get that done, go ahead and pull this combination here, get this combination, this puppy right here, along with this 4-speed transmission sitting right here taken care of, and get her going so that we can get her on the road. She is our hauler. She's going to be our tow vehicle, our parts hauler, everything. So we're going to get this project kicked back up and do it in conjunction. Of course, I always run more than one or two projects, so you'll see a couple coming out, but we got things rocking and rolling. So you stay tuned, hang on, and we'll be back with some actions and getting this thing up and running and having her do her thing. All right, so what we're starting with is we wanted to make this sort of load a little bit better. What we're going to do is put 2 pieces of angle iron right down here on each side, and another 2 here with I'm using 2 inches. So the 2 inches are the one is here and one is here, and in between it, in this hole right here, right there, we're going to put this 1 1/4 inch rod, a 10-inch piece here, so it'll ride between the 2 inches up and down. So when the receiver gets loaded, tries to pull back and forth, instead of just pulling on that pin right there, it's going to pull on the 2 angle irons there, and we're going to transfer the load to the main frame, just to give it some thrusting and pulling load support on this. And then that one will be together. This is just got 2 screws in it. Because we made it removable. Once we put the pin in, it won't be removable anymore, because we're going to weld everything in. We'll go ahead and we'll weld these seams. So you've seen me cut with a bandsaw before. This is 10 inches. These are 48, so I've got them marked here and there, so we can cut them in half. I'm just going to go ahead and cut those pieces, and then we'll go ahead and come back and I'll tack everything in, and we'll show you what it looks like. And if you're wondering, it's cold out, yeah, it's cold in the shop today. All right, so hang loose, we'll be right back, and we'll show you what it's going to look like when we got it tacked up. All right, so I got it all welded up. You can see it here. What we set up here, just 2 bars running straight down, as you can see, with the pin welded and in the middle. And this side came out really good. Everything is nice and tight and lined up, and you can jiggle this so it's not so tight, but it's in there. And the other side was okay. Some of the welds gave me an issue, like this one right here is boogery in the bottoms. I don't know whether I was coming in at the wrong angle or not, but it was weird. But also another problem, look, we're out. My tack broke when I was welding, and I didn't notice it. So I welded the whole damn thing up, and then we got a lot of space here. But it'll still do its job. And if we get a problem, yeah, I may be able to take the welds off and pop it in or something like that. We'll worry about it when it starts to give me an issue. So we're going to kind of go with the other thing we're going to need to do is, these are the connections here for the, turn the light on. There you go. Here are the connections for the hydraulic cylinder. So I'm going to have to clearance this out so that I can I'll put right angles in, because we're going to bring the hoses. The pump will sit in the back. I'm going to probably get a Beaver one rather than using the PTO that's on the transmission, and the reason for that is, then, you know, we don't have to run the main engine. We can just have 12 volt DC run that. We'll get a bi-directional Beaver or something hydraulic power pump. Mount it right in here and just take the hoses and run them around and in through the back of here to route up over to here onto this. So we're going to need to have right anglers coming out on this. So we're going to have to do some clearancing to get that to work because they're going to stick out a bit. So we'll figure that all out. Maybe have to take, I don't know, here. This is going to move up from here to here. So yeah, we'll just notch it here and just notch a little bit here so that they can fit in, because this part doesn't move, the main cylinder doesn't move, the bottom piece does. So we're okay, but this is what we did. That should handle brush loads along with that plate. Push-pull loads along with the pin. Now I gotta weld this back of this plate up. I haven't done that yet. And put that on there. But this doesn't carry load anymore. All it does is a guide plate up and down. So that's where we're at. We're gonna paint that up and then we'll get the hydraulic pump for it so that we can go ahead and test it. All right, so hang on and we'll be right back. All right, so hit it with some rattle can black to get everything covered so it wouldn't get rusty. Came up pretty good. Yeah, we pulled it up to the frame up here. Now we're going to go ahead and you see some more over here. Turn the light on there. We did in here and underneath, and we'll touch up anything that we need to touch up. We'll throw another coat on the back here. You can see break through a little bit here when we do that, but it's doing okay. So what we're going to do is this is the spot here. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to rattle can the rest of the frame to get it covered and to keep it, because it's basically solid and all together, and what we're going to do with it. So, and then we'll I'll come back after I do that. We got to let the shop warm up a little bit. It's a little cold for the paint to stick. We've had crazy weather here, but we'll bring it all the way up to the cab bubble here to this cross member, and we'll get that done. And then we got a little bit more work to do here. We've got to get the Beaver electric over hydraulic pump on here so we can get it connected into here and do the testing. So we'll do that, and then we'll start to work on getting this set up for the bed. We're going to use the flat bed that originally came with it. We're going to go ahead and make some changes on that so it's a little bit more attractive, and we'll need to, from here you can see that we have a down slant the way that this frame was going to do. So what we're probably going to do is cut like 3-inch pipe or 3-inch square tube and make it so it'll come straight over. We'll put a lift up here so it levels the frame out, so when we put our rails for the bed, it'll all be level. What they did before when they originally did is they just put something here at the back to level it up, but then that, you know, when you weight it, it's not supported. I want it fully supported by the rail so that we can really load it if we want to for that. So we also have a hide hitch coming. I was contemplating doing a hydraulic one where that would come up and then it would go down, but I decided not to, and I just ordered off of eBay one that you can mount onto the frame that will do right here, right over the differential, and you flip it down and you can flip it up when you're going to use it for the fifth wheel activation. So hang on tight. I'll come back when we've got this frame painted all the way up to the cab back, and then we'll go from there. All right, so here it is with the receiver ball on it, hooked to it, and it's not hooked up yet, so, but if I stand on it, it should go down. Yep, there we go. Because, you know, it's only got air in it, so we're compressing the air on one side and pulling the vacuum on the other. When I take my foot off, it'll go up. So you can see it go up, just like that. So we're going to have action. It'll move so we can paint it. Once we get the hydraulics to it, we should be able to lift it and lower it, weight it down, and make sure that it doesn't bind and all that type of stuff. So just thought I'd give you a show with the big 3-inch B&W multi-hitch on it. And we'll be back with the rest of the painting and when we get the hydraulics hooked up. All right, that's a second coat. Painted up pretty good. Nice and black and dark. So it'll be protected. We still have to do, I gotta crawl on my back and do underneath it, but other than that, it's in pretty good shape here. And then of course we gotta do cab forward, but we got some work that we need to do there, and we'll gotta double layer this. Just got a single. But everything else has been more or less double. The spot where I missed, like in here where I'm seeing, we'll go over and we'll retouch those as we do it. But it's pretty protected. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get that flatbed that's sitting over on right there. Big Bertha. Fire Big Bertha up. Pull her out if we can. Back that bed up and get that bed out in front of this door right here, so we can start to do some work on it and get it ready to go on top of this. We're going to use 4x4s, like I said. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to level the frame out. Right, we're going to come out with some straight pieces and then put some heightens up, some pieces up like this to make a spot for that bed to sit on, so it could sit level. I mean, I could just put a post at the back and let it sit, but if I do that, you know, then it's unsupported where the dip is, and I don't want it to be unsupported, so that we can load it. All right, so that's all right. That's next up. So hang tight and we'll be back with that. I mean, look at that. Look how beautiful it is out here today. It's January 11th. We're in the 40s. The snow's melting. Now we're gonna get cold and probably get more snow, but you know, hey, we'll take the days where we can get it. All right, so we do have the doors open though, so we can get some light and some fresh air. And there's this, we got a couple of runs here. I'm not really worried about it from the black, but the black came out really good. You can see the frame all the way down to here. We got to do inside of this. This is one spot we missed, so we're gonna, you know, we'll get a can and we'll get in there and we'll make sure we get that, and we'll make sure that we get any spots. And we still need to do the underside, right? I didn't do that, but I'm gonna let that warm up just a little bit before I do that, because I don't like laying on a cold floor. Yeah, and we got a little bit, but we missed there and there. But we'll go back over and we'll get it. So it looks good. It looks good. It looks a lot cleaner and a lot better. So we put the angle meter on it for this dip, so that we know what we're looking at in terms of degrees. It's got about a 13-degree dip here. So we're going to make some patterns. I'm going to make them out of 2x4s. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2x4s and lay them here and get them level to where they need to be. And then we'll draw a line on that 13-inch to mark them. And we'll cut them. And then we'll use that as our pattern. Because what I want to do is I want to have metal here, not wood. At least that's my initial determination. In order to do that. And then, you know, we'll put 3-inch square blocks here. It'll come and rest on that, each of the bars. So we'll adjust the heights for that, and then we'll come across with a crossbar. So when you set the right bed on it, it'll be rail supported all the way across and supported with metal underneath it, so you can fully load it and it pushes on the frame and it doesn't sag that area. Because we're going to use 4x4 pressure treated 4x4s to fit underneath the bed. Let's go and take a look at that. We're getting ready here to take Big Bertha and make sure her battery's charged and fire her up, because I'm going to drive her out here and back her up to in front of that third door there where we have the frame, and we're going to unload this frame and this frame, right? We're going to unload this bed off of the back of Big Bertha, so and get in front of the door so we can start to do work on it. And we got to put it someplace to do it, and I really don't want to keep crawling up on top of Big Bertha to do it. So go ahead and we'll move it. Here's a view from underneath it. You know, everything's clean. The biggest thing we need to do is pull off the old rails, clean up everything, make sure we have good solid hardware. And there is a wood in between here. Here's wood. We're going to pull it out, put new wood in there and secure it, and then go ahead and get this all set and ready to go. Cleaned up and painted, and make sure it's good and firm. We've got to cut a hole that ends up right over the differential to put that flip down goosenecks, that height of gooseneck that we're going to do. And on this end we're going to cut it's going to go a foot out. We're going to cut a V, a foot, a V, and then over to there. So we're going to have a little, the ends, the two ends that get left here will extend a foot to a foot and a half out from the frame rails, but in the center you'll be able to walk right up. And then underneath in the middle there, what we're going to do is we're going to get a ramp, and we're going to put a pull-out ramp so you can pull it out and you can walk up and load stuff under the truck like that. So that's where we're at. And then you'll have the adjust hitch in the back. We got to go ahead and get the Lavern dual action control for that. But that's what we got coming for you. And then we pop that cab off. We do the engine and transmission mount change. We change all the suspension parts, and then redo the cab. When we have the cab off, we'll expect it really close. On this one's got some bad areas to it and a lot of good areas. This one it's got some bad areas and some good areas. I like to use this cab if I can, because it's got good glass in it, except for one window here, but we can pull that out of the other one. It's got windshield glass, and the windshield on the other one is broken. We can clean that up. And it's got its little areas too that need to be addressed, right down in here and stuff like that. And over into the box that's over here. But we'll compare it to that. We'll use whichever one is the best to use for that. And we'll go from there. All right, so that's where we're at. Keep you tuned. And keep going for the next step, which will probably be pulling Big Bertha out and getting the flatbed in this area here, just outside the door, so that we can work on it. Have plenty of space to do that, and then, it'll be weather controlled. So when we can't do that, we'll start to do the other things that we need to do in here, because we're going to rebuild the differential as well too. We'll change out universal joints. We'll make sure the carrier is good. Current plan is that motor I showed you in the front with that 4-speed transmission. I'm contemplating putting an automatic so we can get overdrive on it for doing the hauling. We might look for a 4L60E or a 4L80E and use a separate transmission controller and put an automatic in it versus a standard. I'm a standard guy. I like to shift, but we really want to make this a good hauler, and having that overdrive gear, especially if you got low gears in the back, will be a lot better. If not, and we do go with the automatic, it probably means we're going to get a gear vendor or something like that, some overdrive to put on the back end of it, so that when we're in cruising mode, get better gas mileage, because it's going to have at least 411s in the back for gearing on this, and make sure that we can really pull loads and stuff. So that's where we're at, and we'll be back with the next part, so hang tight. Well, guys, remember from a couple segments ago, I said we were going to start to work on the flatbed portion of the thing, get it off of Big Bertha and all that kind of stuff. Well, that's kind of the spot where the flatbed should be laying. This is kind of where Big Bertha is, covered with 24 inches of snow easily, with a, 5-foot plow drift pushed in front of it. And see, I was charging it and the charger got stuck there, so it's a bird's taking refuge in the parts truck. Anyways, it's sunny as we get prepared for potential another major nor'easter to hit us this weekend. This is from that recent storm there. If you've seen some of my other videos, I kind of chronicled that a little bit, but guess what we're not doing? We're not working on the flatbed. And it's like 23 degrees in the shop. It's cold, and we're gonna fire the heater up and close that door and talk about what we're gonna do now. Seeing how winter storm beat us to the punch on this. So we were going to go ahead and work on it and get it ready, but we had some things we had to do to the frame anyways. Look at that, look at that. Anyways, let me show you what we're up to, what we're going to do, and then what we're going to swap to. All right, so what I did here is I got a couple of 6-foot 2x4s and laid them on the frame rail and just clamped in up here like that. Okay, and they stretch all the way out to the cabin. So what we're going to do is, we want to, where this frame starts to dip like this, I want to support it so when we put the bed on, it's fully supported across the entire frame. So we have these 2x4s. The bottom of the 2x4s, of course, represent the top part of the rail. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to measure from here to here in like 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 4 spots. I'm going to cut 3-inch tubes. We're going to use what we have left over from the stuff. We'll take this one and we'll clean it off and we'll use it. And I've got a couple other ones, and if we have to, we'll get more. And we're going to put them in there vertically, weld them in to be the supports for when we place the rails on top. And what we're going to do is we'll measure from the bottom here of this rail all the way down, but then we're going to take off 3/16 of an inch because we're going to cap it with 3-inch wide 3/16 steel, so it's, you know, covered. And then we'll put angle iron between the back ones here and this one here to make a little framing section, because I want to put a tank in here and get it out of this, get it out of the cab and put it in back here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do that first, and then once we get that done, we're going to come, because it's going to take a while for that stuff to thaw out and move. We're going to come in and we'll start to work on the suspension system for the back and the front. We'll start with the back and, you know, check these out, grease them, whatever we need to do, or put new bushings in if they're loose, and get this all set. Anything that's worn here, we'll go ahead and we'll pull off and put new ones on. And we want to rebuild the rear differential while we're at it too. I had a subscriber send me full information on this because he's doing one very similar, and he sent me all the information on how we can get that rebuilt, so I appreciate that. And then once we've done there, we'll move up to the front and start to work on the engine bay, we'll make it a roller, we'll pull out the engine and stuff, and then we'll start to work on the suspension up here on the front. We're going to see if we can't find a conversion kit to disc for the front. If we can't, we'll stick with the drums, but I want to see if I can find a C30 conversion kit for that, and get some discs on the front so that we have some really good braking. But anyways, that's where we're at. That's what we're going to do. Instead of working on that flatbed and getting the flatbed all ready to go mounted, we were gonna do this portion of the frame anyways, but then we're going to switch over to the differential and the suspensions, because we got a while to wait before that's going to thaw out before I can get to it. So hang on tight. We're going to do a rework here and get things rolling, so we'll be back. Burr, it's cold, but we're out here and we're working on it. Okay, so what we want to do is get our measurements done on here so we can figure out how much we're going to need and what we're going to do. So the first thing we did is, all I did is I took the tape measure. I measured each of these from here up to this point up here where you see this line drawn, which is about where we want the flat to come in. It's 62 inches. And then all I did, just divide it by 2, get the center mark, then divided that again and got these 2 marks, so that we have 4. We'll put 1 at the end, 1 here, and 1 here, and then we'll cap it with the 3-inch wide, 3/16 piece. Okay, then we just took the tape measure and we measured from the frame rail to the bottom of the 2x4, and you know, so we got an 8-inch here, we got 7 7/8 here, we got 6 1/2 here, 3 3/8 inches here. So that's how tall we need to make the 3-inch pieces like this, right? I'm going to clean that up. I'm going to clean this up. Use them to make our little supports on one side or the other. We're going to need more than that there. On this side, the measurements came out pretty close, but a little bit different. 8 inches, 7 7/8, 6 7/8, 3 3/4 here on these. It's a total of 52 3/4 inches of the 3-inch tube we're going to need to go ahead and make all those, and then we're going to need to get the capping 3/16 flat pieces for that. So that's next up on that. We're going to take and clean this up. We'll reuse this. I'll cut this up, grind off the welds, and reuse this. So I don't care if it's got little holes in it like that. We'll utilize what we got first, these 2 pieces, and then go ahead and get some more we'll go ahead and we'll get those built, and those will be coming up next. All right, so just stay tuned and we'll be right back. Oh, it is so cold. It's February 1st here, and you know, the storm went through. We had to dig out from the storm, and it's been cold. I mean, we've been below zero. Right now it's 18 degrees out. It's at 25 in the shop, and I'm trying to get it up, but I can't get it up much higher than that. But anyways, we did all the measurements right. We talked about how we got them all written down. We've gone and we've ordered the steel. I'm going out this week. This is, like I said, February 1st, Sunday. So probably Wednesday, I'll run out and pick up all the steel, and we'll go ahead and we'll get this started where we get this all cut, measured in, set, fitted, tacked in, and then we'll go ahead and we'll get it welded up and have that ready to go. Hopefully, and I guess we're supposed to get a little bit more warmer weather in here, so we'll be able to do it without totally shivering and freezing to death, but we'll see what happens. But that's where we are. We'll be back in just a little bit here. I'll have the steel. We'll go ahead and get it cut up and get it into place and get the frame rails leveled, and then we'll be able to move forward. Hopefully we'll get enough warmth here. We'll get a little melt going on, be able to dig out there in that snow-covered haven and keep this project moving. All right, so hang tight, and we'll be right back with some stuff. But it's a lot warmer, okay? It's like, what is it, February the 18th right now? And what we've done is we pulled our materials together for this, and we got a couple of these 1-inch, what are these, 1-inch by 1/2, 1-inch by 3/4 boards, and these are 8-footers. So what we're going to do is I'm going to cut these into 1-foot lengths, and then we're going to use them as measuring pieces for doing this. The problem I'm having is I put this down, it moves around, you know, and you try and put a flat edge here so you can get a really good accurate reading, so you can put it in there. But what we're going to do is we're going to take the 1-inch, the 1-foot lengths that we have. We're going to set them down right on here. We get this lines up more or less in the center of the frame rail. We'll set it down, we'll put it in, and we'll draw a line, and we'll do it for each of the spots. So one here, one here, one here, and one here, and this one we can put over so that we can capture the angle, because there's a little bit of an angle here on it. We'll overdo it and then run it like that, and we'll capture the angle, and then we can have really accurate pieces that go in there, and they'll be flush to here. But you got to remember that we have to accommodate this width. This is the top place that are going to go over the top of it, right, to plate it and make it flat, and they're 1/4-inch steel. So we'll then go ahead and trim the tops once we have these in, and make it so here's the line where we're going to put it, where it just begins to dip down. So make it so that the top of the piece of the steel comes out as level as we can get it to here, so we don't have much of a jump up that we have to worry about. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and cut those. We'll get them marked, and we'll come back. We'll get some steel cut and in place on this thing, and see if we can't wrap this piece of this section of frame up, and get the, we're going to do pressure treated 4x4s as our mounting pieces that to the actual bed that's going to go on here, and we'll get everything situated. All right, so hang tight, and we will be right back with that. All right, so we took, like we were saying, one of these. It's like a 1 by what? 2 by 1, 2 by 2 and 2 by 2.5. Okay, and we went and we cut them. Let me show you. Into 1-inch, 1-foot long pieces, using my radial arm here saw, my miter saw, and then we just trimmed them off. This is the results from the cut ends from that. And what we ended up with is we got our template blocks. As you can see right here, they're in place, where they're going to be for the most part. And so in their place will be the 3-inch tubing, right? So what we'll do is we'll take those, we'll transfer their dimensions onto the 3-inch tubing here and cut the tubing. And number 2 over here likes to fall out. It's a little loose, but that's okay, because remember we need some clearance, because you put the flat steel on top of this, you know, it's only going to be, instead of 2.5 here, right, it's going to be like that and level across. So we sure that fits in there like that, more or less. We'll put them in the position. You see that some of them are creeped up forward from the center lines. We're going to put these in a little bit out like this because we need to leave space for when we take the cab off and put the new cab on. So, but those are all cut. We'll take these, like on this one, here's a small one that fits in there. We'll take it up here. Put that edge down there. Draw a line there. Draw a line, you know, across flush. And up here we got the angle. We'll go ahead and take our, set it like that, and we'll take our square and we'll draw the right angle. Then we'll put it and we'll fixture it up and we'll cut it. And we'll do it to all of them like that, going up the line until we have them all cut. And then they'll come in here. We'll go ahead and grind off so that they'll. And here we'll put the flat stock on top. This stock over here. Get that measured out to the length it needs. And then when we have it on top, we'll tack the tops first on all the supports over in here. And then when we do the other side, so then we can take it off, flip it over, right, and do a bottom weld rather than doing a top weld on it. Weld them in, put them in here, grind off the areas, put them back down, and then go ahead and tack them in and then finish up because it's all down. It's all with gravity instead of against gravity. And then once we have that done, the caps will be sitting there. And all I have to do is weld the edges in on here, and then that'll be painted. It'll be done, and we can put the 4x4s that are going to come in and support the bed, and then we can start to work on the bed, provided we can get the bed out. This is the day after. The day after. We're up in New England, so we had that nor'easter come in, right? Unfortunately for us, where we live in Agawam, it only gave us 8 inches. The coast got smashed though. I mean, they got like up to 3 feet out on the Cape and stuff, but we just get a fresh 8 inches, which we cleaned up, cleared up, and so everything's good. So let's go out. We'll go ahead and we'll transfer. We'll show you that. We'll cut them out. I'll show you how we're going to fixture it and cut them out so we get good cuts for the angles and stuff, and we'll go from there. So hang tight. We'll be right back. Hey, February 23rd, look what came on UPS. The power unit for the hydraulics to run the back thing. So we're going to mount it right in this area here, right behind the cross member. And we'll run the wires, right, the hoses over to it. We'll hook electrical up to it, up here. And we'll have hydraulic control on our lift. And what we're going to do with this is, we'll use this as a template here. This will get mounted here, but then we're going to put a remote one up in the cab. So you can run it from both, either the back here or do it on the fly from the cab. So that's where we're at right there. I thought I'd squeeze that in, and we'll come back at you as we're cutting out the steel and getting this all set up. Hang tight. All right, so we started cutting these out. They're coming out okay. These are the flat ones. I did this one. This is the angle one. I need a little bit more angle on it on the bottom. We may grind that a little bit so it'll tick down a little bit more. It might end up being a little shorter, so we may have to fill in. But I don't necessarily want to cut a new one unless I have extra, because I'm not sure that I do. My saw, let me show you, is apart because I stamped the blade, and the reason I stamped the blade was down here. You can move it and set the angle on it for what you cut. So this is basically a 13-degree angle for those ones that curve up. So I'd set it, but you know, it's 10, 15, 20, 25, so on and so forth for that. So when I was setting it, I did shed it a little shallow for that. So I'll be a little bit more cognizant and get a little bit more out of it. So we will take care of that. But then when I was setting it back to do a straight cut on this one, you can see it right here, I went past 0 and it curved the blade and cut that. So We're gonna go ahead and put a new blade on it. It's not very hard. Already got it off. And I went down and got a Hercules from Harbor Freight. Since now they're giving away free buckets too. We got that. And we'll get it back up and going, and we'll show you once we got everything cut here what it looks like. So stay tuned. We'll be right back, and we'll show you the results. Alright, so they're all cut, and we got the real piece in. We've taken the wood out. This is the 1/4 topping piece, or 3/16 I think it is, that goes on this. It's going to get cut right around the 62 mark, maybe 61.5 to 62 in there somewhere. So this is going to come down. If you look at this right here, I think they come down another 1/4 inch. So it's going to drop right onto these at the right spot, and we can move them around. I pushed this up so it would support it. But we can move these around. It's not important where they are as long as we get fairly even support for it. Same with over here. We'll do that side as well. And then we'll have the 4x4s will sit on the bottom of the flatbed out there. And they'll sit right here. We'll have to trim these little edges here. But we'll lay the 4x4s right there. And that's what we'll attach the bed to. Because they'll slide. They have square channels that'll slide right over the 4x4s, and do that. I'm going to tweak this back a little like I have here so that the cab will clear when we go to pull the cab off, because we're going to do work on the cab off and or switch it to the other cab that we have outside. So we'll do that on both, and we'll tweak these because you can see I was off on the angle here a little bit. These were much better as I readjusted, but we'll grind down the forward edge a little bit so it tilts up, but we should be good. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, it weighs anyways the way that it is, but we'll go ahead and we get it set. The other thing we're going to do here is we want to mount up the power supply unit for the hydraulics on the back. I have 2 pieces of flat just to show you where it's going to go. These are going to get switched out to 2.5 inch angle irons, where the angle comes up this side and then comes up this side. It drills 2 holes and it gets just mounted directly onto that, so it'll sit right in here protected. We'll run power up this rail. We're going to run the hydraulic lines over this way and onto that, and we should be all set. And we'll probably do something such that if we want to add other hydraulics to it, we'll stick a manifold in it, and then we can peel off and switch over. So, but we'll cover that as we come to it. All right, so that's where we're at. Let's go ahead and we're going to get the flat metal pieces cut and everything all tweaked in with a grinder and that type of stuff, and then we'll show you where we're at with that. All right, so sit tight. We'll be right back. All right, so the power supply unit's all mounted. Got the remote hanging here. We just used 2 pieces of angle iron. We drilled holes in the frame and we did it so it's a removable. Wanted to make sure we could do that. And then right here on the bracket piece, there's 2 mounting holes. So we just drilled up and mounted it to it, so it's nice firmly attached right behind it. Here's the cable connector here, and then one stuck down there. We'll take and run the cables this way and come in over here to get onto the cylinder. You can see it. I clearanced some out here, and everything can come out on both the top and the bottom, but we're going to have to clearance some more because I got to get different adapters for it. The ones that came with it aren't going to fit on that, so I'm going to have to go reference that cylinder, excuse me, and get the main connection type for it, and order some hoses too for that. And then we'll run electrical down this side of it because it connects here onto the solenoid and then here to the ground, and we'll just run it up for the main connection up there, and we'll have it all set and ready to go. You know, power in the back, hydraulic power in the back. It'll be run to this so that could go up and down. So once we get the connectors, the adapters for the hoses, and the hoses, we'll rig that up, we'll fill it with oil, use the battery and jumper cables to go ahead and try it and make sure everything works. So we're in good shape there. So stay tuned and we'll be back with the next phase. All right, so we've got this set up where we want to have it. As we laid it out, we've marked it with white paint, as you can see on the areas here, so that we know where we're going to put it back on. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and lay some tacks on it here to tack these to the top. And we're going to take the clamps off. We're going to bring it over to the welding table, and we're going to weld it over there completely. But we should be able to do some decent tacks here. We got the welder all set up. Provided I don't screw it up like I'm doing already. Hang on. Got like a foot and a half of it caught. There we go. So we'll just throw some tacks on it, then we'll go ahead and weld it up. Show you guys that process. How we're going to do that. Alright, this is fun because I got to get down low. Oops. Got some gloves. About to weld without gloves? That would not be good. The other thing we're going to do is put some light on. It's easier to see under there. Make sure we get some good welds, tack it so nothing moves. That's not a very good tack. Okay, that one's a little better. Okay, it's a little high on this side, so we're going to tack this back edge here. And I'm going to tack a little farther in. See, that would probably hold. The reason we want to tack these and then take it off is we want to do it, because I'm doing upside down welds right now, so we want to weld right side up, right side up so the gravity helps us. Hopefully I won't hit you guys. make sure. Make sure we got nice welds. Hopefully I won't bump you guys too bad. Yeah, those wells look like they'll hold. I think I may put one more down on that bottom one because I only got one side on it. Pop it off, see how we did. Pick one right on the edge. Drop that well, a little lost by orientation, but it's in there. All right, let me show you guys. Take you off the stand here. Okay, so we just got some welds up and in there. Turn your light on. Tack everything on. We'll release the clamp, see how we did. Make sure that we have everything held. And we'll bring it over and do the, as you look at the ceiling, do the finished welds. Rotate as I knock things off. These clamps off. Grab my hat so my head don't get cold. Okie dokie. Put on the gloves because we're handling metal. Oh yeah. There we go. It's down here for now. And we'll over to the table and get welded up completely. And the reason we marked everything as white is It's gonna go get placed back there, so we got to ground around the white, right, to get the paint off here, so that we can get a good weld when we do that. All right, so let me go set up on the table, do those finish welds, and we'll show you that. All right, be back. Okay, so what do you say we weld this up, huh? Note to the editor, let's time warp it. Okay, I don't think those are going anywhere. Take a look. I like to do semicircles. To lay my beads down. That one was the first one, so it was on pretty heavy there. But there we go. That one's welded up. Now we need to clean up over on the frame and get ready to pop it in there. I'll hit them with a hammer and make sure that they're tight, but they should be. I got pretty good heat and penetration on it, so hang on tight and we'll be back with the next section. So a quick intermediary step here before we go and ground everything. We just put it back in place because we want it to cool. It's still warm and it was warping just a little bit from the heat of the welding, and we clamped it in place and it looks pretty good. It fits up pretty good. We got one section over here. This I didn't pin down. I should have clamped it before I did it, but we'll just fill it in with weld once we have it in there. But we should need to knock this over a little bit on this one. I have a hammer here. I do. Have to loosen that a little bit. Get it to slide over a little bit, but we'll loosen them and slide. What we want to do is I want it to cool so it does. So we make sure everything sits flush, and it does. All right. So the next step will be we'll grind these white spots off using a 80 grit flapper disc. So we have a good weld spot. We know we're going to go on the outside of it, right? Because that's where the weld's going to all be, all the way perimeter welded all the way around. So we'll clean that up. and do that. Remember, it doesn't have to support side-to-side lever. It's top down, right? So it's straight down over it. Just want to make sure it's not going to tip or anything, and it shouldn't. It should go right down in there and be good and tight. All right, so we'll go ahead and let that cool. We'll pull it off again. We'll clean those areas up. Once we got a good clean area, we'll set them down and we'll stick that baby on this side, and then we'll do the other one over there same way. As you can see, I got more lights that are about to go up. So more light, Aziz, more light. All right, we'll be right back. All right, let's tack this on a couple areas here. It's in place where we want it, so we'll go ahead, throw on some heavy tacks. Those look pretty good. You guys a little bit. And can't get to that back side. Okay. Right. Let me weld it up, and I'll be back and show you the results. You already see me weld, so. Okay, there we go. We're welded on. It's still warm to touch, but it ain't going anywhere. I mean, this is solid. Of course, you'd expect that. We got good welds out of it. Then up here, let's take the, well, I'm showing you nothing. Grab the level. Real quick, it should more or less be level. Doesn't have to be perfect. Oh yeah, we're within the bubble. I don't know if you can see it, but we're within the bubble. Moving down. That's way within the bubble. So we're good. Alright, so the welds came out pretty good. I like to do circles. You get some of these nice smooth beads. I mean, they're, see, these look like dimes, or more like nickels, but this one came out really well on these two corners. But they ain't going anywhere. Remember, we're pressing down on it, not side to side. So we won't do anything. We'll have to trim this here. It's going to get trimmed back to here. I'll take a mark it and use a zip disc, and we'll cut that end off. Want to get everything in place. Now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll do the one on this side, and then we're ready to go ahead and test where we're going to put our bed on it, and then we can go to work on our bed, which is hanging around. I'll show you. Right out here. Got it off of the back of Big Bertha. So she's next. She's got wood interlayered between the top. There's two metals. So we're going to pull that out and we're going to replace all that. That end, I think, or is it this end? This is the end that goes to the rear of the truck. We're going to take it, and I think we're going to go like a foot over. We're going to go triangular here to make a gap for where that toe plate is. Triangle, angle it back up, and then over there it'll be like, this is 7 feet. 1 foot on this side, 1 foot on this side, so 5 feet of it will angle back, be open, you know, that's 3 feet across, and then on the 2 feet will come up at an angle. So that you'll be able to walk right up to the middle of the toe plate. There won't be the bed hanging over the top. The bed will be on the sides there. So sorry for my shadow in the picture. Sun's behind me, but that's where we're at. Okay, and let me turn my hat around, and we'll come back with the next. I'll show you once I have that other side all welded up. And we're gonna go with 4x6s. We need a little bit more height than just a standard 4x4, so we're gonna go with 4x6s for the rails that'll attach to that, and that should just put it right over the top of the part of the back plate here, toe plate. Everything should clear, and then the only other thing we need to do is in here we need to figure out how to mount the fifth wheel flip up ball for the fifth wheel, which will be right in this area right here. So we're getting there. Hang tight, we'll be right back. Okay, so we have this set up, and I've already gone through and cut this one. I trimmed it at the appropriate angle, so it's fitting now, and it's more or less aligned with that one. We're doing the one that goes right in here in this section right now. So I'll finish up showing you guys. Here it is right here. You can see I'm partway through it. Bingo. This is a Weaver bandsaw too. It works really, really well. All right, let's go check it out. Good. Now that I've readjusted the angle on the saw, line up a lot better. Yeah, see, now it's flush when it's up there. Now we'll clamp it down. Should be in pretty good shape. Get this aligned correctly. Alright, let me clamp it in. Sorry, not showing you anything here. Not quite. I'll tap it with a hammer. Okay. This one's still off a little bit. Shouldn't be though. The front needs to come down a little bit more. Alright, let me go play with it, but that's the idea. This one works straight off. I gotta play with that one a little bit more. Alright, we'll be back and show you. Alright, we got it done. Had to trim it just a little bit more. It did slip when I trimmed it, obviously. But now it's sitting, so we should be able to weld that one up without any real problem. Same with the other these. I marked it for there, so we'll get that cut. So I will go and cut this, and we'll go ahead and get everything tacked in, and then we'll flip it over, weld it, bring it back, clean these up, just like we did the other side, and get that welded, okay? So this is ready to rock and roll. But when we do that, we should be in good shape here. So hang tight. All right, they're both on. Painted. We clearanced this end. We got to clean that up a little bit down there because I left some. I ended up, when I was cutting it, I welded there, so I had to cut into the weld. Boy, that was tough, let me tell you. But we have the rails up. They all look good. They're all level. There's that one over there on that side. So we get the frame set more or less to put the flatbed on. Walk around this side, we'll give you right here. Just got that one. You see my runs and all, so we make sure that we got this covered so that the welds wouldn't rust and the metal wouldn't rust. So it's in good shape. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna end this one here because it's already long. We've got the frame all set and ready to go. The next thing up is we're gonna go ahead and we'll do our next video working on the flatbed to get it ready to go on this. So we got to clean the flatbed up. We got to fix a couple things on it and then get it all set up. We're going to need to figure out how to put a framing section in the back here, just behind the differential, or just about the differential for the fifth wheel connection, because it's going to be a flip up kind that's in the bed. It'll be level and then you can flip it up. Should be able to do like 25,000 pounds when we do that. But that's where we're at. I want to say appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. And we'll be back at you with the next iteration that's coming here to get this on the road, to get Lavern going. So, again, we appreciate you guys. Stay tuned because we'll have another video coming out on this real soon.